Hello, YouTube. Welcome to my channel, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. This is a very short video that I'm going to do on this viral clip of a lady who went to, had sex with 100 men in a 24-hour period. But Candice Owens is going to talk about this in a full-length interview. But right now, this is just a short preview of her first interaction with this lady, Lily Phillips. And what I got to say is this is a sad commentary on both men and women. Mostly women because her box is her choice, her body, her choice. And I don't think there's enough women speaking out against this. But, the men don't get a pass for signing up for this kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Um, it just goes to show you that there's a deficit in something out there with men. I know our nature is to have sex with women. But this kind of exploitation is over the top. And there's no way to get around that. She makes $2 million a year. And of course, most of that is men, probably married men, and mostly just looking. But guys are signing up in droves because her plan is to try to do 1,000 men in a 24-hour period. Now, again, 1,000 men. I don't even see how you're gonna. It's like 86 seconds a person. So I don't even know what you call that, but just the thought about that and what kind of psyche will it take for you to do something like that as a woman? And how do you ever get past something like that? And what's worse, her parents are her managers. So Candace Owens is going to go ahead and talk a little preliminary about her encounter with this lady and that the full-fledged interview is going to be up and coming. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Candace talk about, her interactions and what might be coming in the future. But I don't see how there's any. This is demonic. That's all I can say. This is demonic, and there's no silver lining whatsoever in any of this. And just nothing else to be said. But that's where our country has fallen because there's no condemnation full-fledged condemnation of what this woman is actually doing by other women. They might be talking on it, but there's no cancellation. There's nothing. It's like her body, her choice. Even in a situation like this, it's absolutely dreadful. Anyway, so without further ado, let's let Candace Owens talk about it, and we'll go from there.
Okay, gotta tell you about my conversation. So this girl has been trending. I am sure you've heard about her, but in case you haven't, I'll give you a brief update. Her name is Lily Phillips, and she is extremely young. Skylar, how young is she? She's gotta be like 23 years old. She's 23 years old, and obviously the OnlyFans market is somewhat saturated now. And so if you're really gonna break through as an OnlyFans model, you're gonna have to do something really ridiculous. And she has decided that she is going to sleep with 1,000 men in 24 hours to break the Guinness Book of World Record, which was previously held by some Polish girl who slept with approximately 917 men in one day. Obviously, this is utterly demonic, and people have been outraged also to learn that her mother is working with her. Like her mother handles the finance portion of her OnlyFans account. And so just spiritually to think about, and she's presenting herself to the public. She did an interview with the Daily Mail, and she's like, I come from a stable household. My mother loves me, like my father loves me. And she's trying to pretend like I'm just a regular girl who wants to break a Guinness Book of World Record. So I got contacted by Steiny, of the Nelk Boys podcast. And he said, listen, like I'm about to have this girl on my show. Would you want to have a conversation with her? And I said, yes. I said yes, not because I thought that I was going to change her mind, but because I knew that having a conservative and a spiritual conversation with her is important for the young girls that are following her, thinking that what she is doing is making her happy. So she did this test run before I spoke with her, just a couple of days before I spoke with her. And she slept with 100 men in 24 hours just to see if she could get to 100. you should go pursue the clip. Be careful because a lot of clips circulating of her. You may accidentally land up on porn, which is what I did when I tried to find it on YouTube, on Twitter rather. I can't believe X has so much pornography. But essentially, she comes out of the room. It's exactly what you imagine. And they start asking her questions like, how was it? How was it? Because she's filming a documentary to go along with this to maximize the money she makes. And she quite literally broke down crying. Like the mask slipped and she said, I'm sorry, I'm overwhelmed. It felt like robotic and I'm just overwhelmed. And yeah, because there's 100 men that are ushering in there and they were pressuring her, like, you promised I'd get 3 minutes, whatever it was. It was so heartbreaking to watch. Fast forward a couple of days, I'm talking to her and she's back to trying to make it seem like she doesn't care. And so I just called her out on that. We were completely respectful. There was no reason for me to be derogatory towards her. I know that a lot of people feel very passionate, but I just basically said to her, "This is a facade, and I'm aware."
Well, before we start continue, I just wanted to go ahead and say at this point, I saw that preliminary discussion where she broke down crying, and she was crying because she actually said because she felt bad because the men couldn't finish in the little time frame that each one of them had. Somewhere she promised them 5 minutes, but some of them she only gave 3 minutes to. And because she's trying to break this record, you got to add in bathroom breaks and all that kind of stuff. And she started crying because she said a lot of these guys made her feel bad because they couldn't finish. I mean, it's just incredible the amount of debauchery that is going on in our country, and how it would have continued if the wrong people would have took over the reins. That's just me speaking. I really believe it. So over the next 4 years, hopefully we could reset a lot of this madness that has been festering over the 12 years out of 16 of liberal and unbridled anti-Christian and demonic uh, kind of things on a far left that has been going on. So I'm gonna let Candice finish, and then she's just setting up a full-length interview. Whenever she's gonna release it, I'll be on that, and that'll be a part two to this one. But let's go ahead and let her finish talking about this.
That it's a facade because I had Amber Rose on my podcast and speaking to her about the sex industry, speaking to her about what it took for her to pretend to be confident. Because she said the reason why these OnlyFans models pretend that doesn't bother them and that doesn't disrupt their spirit is because the men want to believe you're into it, right? So if you're trying to make money and you're trying to sell a package on OnlyFans, you're like, I'm into 1,000 guys going through me in one day. They don't want to see you crying. They don't want to see you distressed, and it kind of takes away from their fantasy. And I called her out on that. I said, I get that you're creating a fantasy. You're doing this, obviously, I'm not going to ask you patronizing questions. You're clearly doing this for money. If Ford models knocked on your door and said, I'd like to give you a $50 million contract for modeling, you wouldn't be doing this, plain and simple. She tried to then say, oh no, I actually really like doing, I like this. She's like, I was already sleeping with a ton of guys for free. This is my thing. So dishonest again, because she has to sell this fantasy to the men that are signing up to her OnlyFans that she's into it. And because she had this moment where she broke after slept with 100 guys, I just want to say, for the guys that are signing up, the 1,000 men that are signing up to sleep with her in 24 hours, I view you as sexual predators. Now you saw the breakdown, you saw the real her, the mask slipped, and if you are signing up to do that, it's because you're a pervert. There's really there's nothing else to say. She's a young girl and she just wants money, and you're willing to violate a woman and be one of 1,000 men to do it in one day.
I absolutely agree with Candice Owens on that point. I don't see how any man could want to do this and be a part of that cabal of dudes running through a chick. I mean, in my whole life, I could never even fathom being a second guy or even a first guy on one lady. I never partook in that. I never thought anything would be exciting about doing that. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about if it's just two guys. So when I think about 1,000 guys doing that kind of stuff, because let me tell you, all the men that I've talked to have ever had, her tag team a woman, I don't look at that as a flex. I really don't. I don't say anything to those guys. I think they dodged a bullet because women routinely routinely feel bad, mostly will feel bad after doing some shit like that. And now we know that 20 years later, they're coming back after men if those men have money. So I'm just saying, I, I raised my hand. I was no great prize, but I know I could have partook in some of that stupid shit, but I just never thought it was exciting to me. I'd rather just have me and the honey and just me and her. That's it. On a consensual basis. But listen, just 1,000 guys. I can't even see signing up for this shit. It's crazy. It's absolute madness. Anyway, so let's continue.
For what? Because of pornography, because of sex addiction, because of all of the ills that we are suffering from, and because of the fact that prostitution is the oldest trade in the books. That is why she is participating in this. She even spoke to the fact that like her life was made better and she owed it to her fans. She's got a little bit of money. Somebody I think made an estimate online that she makes like $2 million a year. And I told her $2 million a year, and you're going to reflect on this, how it's going to impact your children if you have them. Like imagine going to school as a child and you have the mother who everyone knows slept with 1,000 men in one day. Just to like do the math on that, she's going to have to sleep with one man every 86 seconds for 24 hours straight. And that's going to have to, by the way, include bathroom breaks. So, like, I don't want to imagine how that works. She's not going to be able to eat. Maybe she is going to eat. I don't know. But it is really, truly a sign of just demonic possession. I told her, like, you are possessed by a devil. And it is telling you to put money ahead of your entire future. I get that you like the attention that you're getting for all of this, but it's just really sad to see what women have become in today's society. Lastly, Steiny asked me if I would ever go out and grab like a drink with her or, be a friend to her. And I said, no, my time is precious. She's not a person that's trying to change around her life. It's different if she's like, yeah, I live this lifestyle and I like really want to come out of it. There's no value in that exchange for me. It's just a mom of three. And I was very clear to her that her mother was abusive. I was very clear to her that her mother partaking in this, her mother clearly does not love her. And there was like, it is, as someone who has sons and has daughters, I actually do not have the vocabulary to express.
So Candice Owens emphasized her mother being a manager, but if her father's in the house, to me, that's even worse. I mean, I think that's the real crime. I mean, a mother, I don't know, sometimes women tend to have their emotions wrapped up in anything. Is this what you want? I'm going to let you go ahead and do it, even though I don't like it, blah, blah, blah. I'll exploit you. But if you have an involved father who can actually allow anything like that to happen with any blood left in his body, and that's not a man. That's not a man. Obviously, the guy doesn't control his relationship with his wife. And he certainly lost control over his daughter as well. I mean, long time ago. So the fact that she has somebody she calls a father is a misnomer because that is no father. That is no man. He's a coward. And there's no way. I mean, absolutely no way without somehow just disrupting the world if one of my daughters ever thought of doing some stupid shit like this. Anyway, let's continue until she's almost done.
What sort of a parent you would have to be to support that? And she says that both her mother and her father support her. So, anyways, definitely look out for that interview. I think you guys will find it to be very fascinating. And like I said, she was very sweet. For me, I don't see a reason. I just don't see a reason for her to be doing this or choosing this path outside of money. And that really is the only reason that she is doing it. Okay.
So let's stop it there. So that's the end of that. So we'll look forward to that in the future. It's sad. It's and the people who are championing this my body, my choice scenario is not just when they're out deleting babies. It's it covers almost everything that they do. You know what I'm saying? There's no silver lining in any of this. Not at all. And I don't see how anybody could somehow think it's okay, make excuses for it. But the my body, my choice women will probably find a way to do that. And it's a shame and it's sorry. And somewhere in a corner or in the clouds, in the recesses of your mind, Jesus is actually crying over some stupid shit like this. Our pain, marriage, politics, and sports. Over and out.